don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal gifts. With state-of-the-art equipment and a team of skilled designers, we can engrave intricate designs on virtually any material. Whether it's a special message, a company logo, or a custom design, Romika Laser Engraving will help you make your mark. And the best part, our prices are affordable and our turnaround time is quick.
I couldn't be happier with the work Romika Laser Engraving did for me. The engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
There we go. Hi, I'm Sonia V.
And I'm Iguaran.
Welcome to a common thread. We can't change it up on people.
The wins, the losses, and the curveballs in life.
Yes, yes. We are here at our normal time on Mondays. We used to be on Wednesdays, but we've been on Mondays for a few weeks now. And thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. You could be doing anything else, and you're here with us. So we are really, really grateful. So Eva, it's hard to say on a Monday, how's your week going? Because your week just basically started. On Wednesdays, it's a little easier to say that, right? Because like hump day, right? Like hump week. And so, anyway, how's your Monday been, I guess?
Well, actually really good. But let's back up to this weekend. You had an incredible gathering at your home full of women. We had a lot of good laughter. We danced. Should I be saying that? Actually,
well, we didn't dance. Hold on a minute.
Wait, we didn't.
You're going to get me in trouble.
We were bobbing our heads. No, you didn't dance. I was bobbing my head.
We were bobbing our heads. But we were mostly talking and pampering ourselves. We had like these little, I wish I could have posted, showed you all a picture, like these white masks that they're good for your skin.
Stays at Sonia's. We can't have masks.
It's kind of like,
leaking.
Well, too late because it's gonna we're gonna have to show those pictures. It's a life group that we do at my church, and I mean, there's a bunch of life groups, but that's one of them. And the lady who's in charge of that, she wants us to show pictures, take pictures, when you all get together.
Well, she not only had masks set out for us, but Sonia also pampered us with pedicure little feet masks.
Yeah, so it was like the same kind of material that you would put on your face. Those white masks that have holes in it and for your nose, and then you have the opening
so
for your mouth.
Booties.
These were like booties, little sock things for your feet. I didn't use one,
I left feeling like $1,000,000, like I had no problems in the world. And after all those treats, probably gained a little weight, but that's okay. Had some egg salad sandwiches, and we had a lot of good finger foods.
It was very yummy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the point of the group is to kind of feel relaxed.
Sonia also made some bougie olive oil with
glazed like a vinaigrette, balsamic vinaigrette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of friends said I was bougie. It's okay. I'm okay with bougie. I'm Italian and I'm from New York, so I'm bougie, I guess.
Yeah, we had some mozzarella cheese. It was good.
Yeah, it was really good. And if you're not bougie, that's okay too. But I'm bougie, and I'm okay. That's me. I can't change who I am.
Yeah, and good weekend. And then today, like you said, we've been doing this on Mondays for a few weeks. I should remember, but all I could think of. Enrique didn't work today because he's been feeling bad, so he worked from home. And so I was taking advantage that I could go take off on my bike instead of sitting with Audrey, because usually I have to sit with Audrey till Enrique comes home. And she's been coming with us to the radio station and hanging out.
So that's why she's not here today.
Yeah, today everything got kind of thrown off by Enrique staying home from work.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. So I was just kind of going with it. So I decided to catch a bike ride. And what do you know? I was rushing here to get here on time. Can you hear her now? So yeah, I feel like everything is good. I got here right in the nick of time, but I'm red and I'm matching my top.
There you go.
So
you're matching your top.
Hey, so Sonia, sorry, Sonia, if you felt like I was not gonna make it or barely gonna slide it. I was like, I'm running late, and I was like, let's see how fast.
She made streaks in the
it was really race driving to get here.
Yeah, well, safety first.
So yeah, Monday's been good already. Got some grocery shopping done, and now we can eat.
Now you can eat. Yeah.
How was the beginning of how was your Monday?
It's okay. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm trying to take medicine for that. I mean, I'm pushing through it, but yeah, I mean, nothing extraordinary or nothing bad. Just a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway, last week we were talking about, for those that were not with us or for those that were with us, the Good Samaritan story, which is in the Bible. And we, talked about, who the Good Samaritan was, who the person that was wounded was, the Levite, the priest, and kind of the question the lawyer asked Jesus. So that when we said lawyer, we meant lawyer of the law, the one of the religious law. And so kind of like this exchange between him and Jesus, and he was trying to trap Jesus, which his motives were bad. And then what happened was then he asked the question, what must I do to be saved? And then Jesus said, well, what does the law say? Because you're the expert, right? And then he was like, well, love the Lord your God with all your strength, with all your soul, with all your might, and love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said, you are right. Do this and live. And then he wanted a loophole, because that's what we do, right? He asked the question, who is my neighbor then? Because now I can kind of, if you point out who the neighbor is, then I don't have to be nice or kind or loving to everybody, right? Only to those that fit that description. And then Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan, of this man traveling on the road to Jerusalem. And he was a common road that was traveled, and he got robbed, and which happened a lot to a lot of people traveling on that road. And we don't know who this person was, what their cultural, religious background was. We just know that they were wounded. And then a Levite and a priest at just two separate times walked by, crossed on the other side because they didn't want to deal with it. Either because if for a Jewish person at that time, touching someone who was not Jewish would be considered unclean, and so probably that's why he didn't do it. And then, or maybe that he had some, or it could have been that he had somewhere to go, or both. And then the Levite, I don't know too much about Levites, and as far as like, I guess they were Jewish, but they were just of a different tribe, and he did the same. And then this Good Samaritan, who was, according to the Jews, he Samaritans were half breed, so they were half Jewish, half Assyrian, and the Assyrian, they didn't like the Samaritans, and the Samaritans didn't like the Jewish people. So, and then this Good Samaritan stops and helps this wounded person, this wounded man, and then takes him on his donkey, puts him on his donkey, takes him to this inn. And I'm trying to like speed through this really fast for y'all that weren't here or didn't join us or just need a reminder. And then he takes him to the inn. He bandages him up, puts wine on it to kind of disinfect his wounds, and then oil to kind of soothe them and heal them. And then tells the innkeeper, "I'm going to leave this man here with you. Please take care of him, and I will repay you when I come back." And it kind of ends there. And then he asked the question, so then which one of these men was his neighbor? And the religious person or the lawyer of the law said, "The one who had mercy on him." And so what was he going to say on at that point? He couldn't argue with Jesus. That was the story, told it all. So that's kind of where we left it, where we left it off. And we were kind of, the reason why we wanted to do this topic was because of all the tension and everything that's been going on for a while now. And we're just bombarded by so much negativity, but then also we're always slinging mud. We're either slinging mud or degrading someone's character. And as a human being, forget about just being Christian. As a human being, we should not be degrading someone's character. You can have a difference of opinion without doing that. So please, 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 let's stop doing that.
Well, at the end of the day, if there's an accident, like this story, clearly the man, was beat up or something happened. He wasn't there checking his license or checking his passport or checking to see, you know, what affiliation or what denomination or what nationality or what any political party or
Yeah.
opinion or whatever. He just helped the man. He took time to get off his own donkey where he could have been hit, robbed, beaten himself. He took a chance on another human being, and he did what was right, and he did what was right in front of him. He didn't do necessarily what was convenient, because we all, as humans, we also like to choose what's convenient. Oh, I can go help that person because it's on a Sunday and it's on my way. You know what I mean? So that's convenient. I can go help them because it's, I have off on Sunday, and oh, I was going that direction anyway, and I don't have anything really to do. I have an hour to give. So I guess I can go. But to choose what is uncomfortable, to choose what's not convenient
Mm.
at the time, and also he spent not only time, love, like all of it, but also he spent from his own pocketbook.
Mm.
He didn't go and ask the church for funds to take care of it, because that's what a lot of times we like to do, say, and I've been guilty of this one before. Like, "Oh, well, if you go down to the church, like, they'll be able to help you. Like, this church on the corner, just go ask them, they'll be able to help you." And kind of like just sending someone to someone else. instead of taking that responsibility on yourself or the financial burden on yourself, that's exactly what he did. He didn't ask for anybody else to take care of it. He said, "When I return, I'll take care of this financial burden."
Right, right.
We don't know if he was wealthy, poor, we don't know his financial situation, but he acted like, you know, "My word is good, and you can count on it, and please
Mhm.
take care of him."
Hmm. It's funny you say that about the church thing. And it's hard when someone like when I'm driving and I stop at a light, sometimes you see like someone who's homeless on the corner. And if I have money, I will give. Uh, but like this morning, I didn't have any cash on me. And this person happened to be like right on the corner where there's like a church not far. You could see the church from where I was. And my thought was, there's a church right there. That would be great if he can go and go there because I could see that no one else was helping him. And I would have helped. I would have liked to help if I had cash on me, but
And I'm not saying it's a bad idea,
no, 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 of
right?
course. I mean, and I thought, well, man, I don't maybe he did. I don't know. He could have gone to
Mhm.
that church, but I don't know. But he didn't at that moment. He didn't. And I felt bad because I really did want to help him, but I was like, man, I don't have any cash on me, and it's terrible because right now this is the way we live. Right, we live with debit card mostly. Occasionally, I'll have like a few dollars on me, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we want to push people on other people, or we think someone else is going to do it. Oh, someone else will help, so I don't need to do it. Or you know, the Samaritan, or who knows, even the Levite or the priest thought, well, if I help him, what if I, like you said, get robbed? What if I help this person and maybe they're on drugs, or maybe they put themselves in this position. Maybe they were drinking too much and then they were not in their right mind, and because they weren't, then they got into this mess. Somebody robbed them because they weren't in their right mind. They couldn't protect themselves. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, that doesn't matter why they're there. The point is that another human being is on the floor and beaten and bruised. We don't know the story behind it, but the Samaritan didn't ask questions, that's the point, and we shouldn't either. So,
Or
uh
maybe, like, if it was modern time, we would say, "Oh, if I stop to help him, somebody may see that I'm helping, this person from this political party, and I can't have them seeing me associating with this person from this other political party, or, they're from this country, and I don't want people to think, oh, that I'm helping this person from the oh, I can't be associated with that." Just whatever today, whatever your thought pattern might be, like hesitant, "Oh, I can't be seen with that person," and you fill in the blank.
right.
Like he was risking I think he was risking quite a bit. Probably even taking him to this place. Like, I'm sure people
Oh, to the end,
I'm sure the word got around.
I'm sure.
I mean, it was a nice deed. But anyway, in today's language, maybe you don't want to be associated with a certain political party or a certain religion. So maybe you would avoid reaching out or helping.
That is very true, and it makes me think of, like, just lots of examples, like, even in the most modern more modern times, like, the last 20 or 30 years. A good example of that is 9/11. I mean, you're talking about I was there, I mean, I wasn't in the building. I did actually work there at some point, but I wasn't there when it happened. I was actually down the road working by the Empire State Building when it happened. So we were stranded on Manhattan for like the entire day until about 3 or 4 o'clock when some transportation systems opened at that point. Not the subway, but other ones. Anyway, it was amazing to me at that point. Like, you see firefighters, you see police officers, you see even other people that they themselves are not even police officers or firemen helping other people. And nobody like asked for identification. People just helped. But then it takes tragedy in order for that kind of thing to happen, and that's unfortunate. And I just wish that we could just show that common courtesy, common kindness to people every day. Again, I think sometimes we're just afraid of, like, okay, I have this opinion, this very strong opinion about whatever this is, whatever my opinion is. And if I start to associate with that person, or I'm seen with that person, or I'm discussing whatever my view is, maybe I'll start to side with them, or maybe I'll start to, um, see things their way, and then I'll change my mind. This is the way I see it. If you are strong enough in your belief system, whatever that is, you should not be afraid that you're going to be swayed. And if you are afraid of that, then you need to question your belief in the sense of, maybe I need to be more grounded in it. Maybe I'm not as grounded as I thought. Because if you're grounded, there's no reason to be afraid of listening to someone's thoughts and respectively sharing yours and listening to theirs and still having an opinion. So,
Yeah, I hear so much hate. And to me, it's like the question of, well, we know that Jesus talks about in the end time that people will be lovers of themselves.
yes.
And we also know that evil will be called good and good evil.
Mm.
But yeah, you see all the time, especially on our social media platforms, where people are like, good, I'm glad they died. I To me, it's just shocking. It just kind of shows the depravity of our mind, or like they deserved it. And I'm just like, they're human. Um, yeah, we could talk about any number of recent stories. We don't have to even mention them or bring them up. People can, in their head, go to several different stories where it wasn't just one side or the other calling names and being joyful. At one point, it's one way, and everybody's, it seems like they're almost happy, or just name calling instead of just hurting for another human that lost their life. So, I think that is the tragedy, that we've become so desensitized that, like, they're literally our brother and sister. Like, if we were to go through and draw the lines of, like, who's related to who, we're related to everyone. It's just a matter of how many steps away. But either way, we're human. And so that was my brother, that was my sister. To think in those terms, that just happened to somebody who, this person was a mother, a sister, a friend, or this person was a brother, a dad, a friend to someone. And then for people just to make comments like good.
Hmm.
And so I like that you've brought this topic for us to start thinking like the story in the Bible, that we're not supposed to look at this person on the side of the road and wonder, you know, what their political party is, or if they're rich or if they're poor, or if they're black or if they're white, um, what country they're from. Like, just know this is a human being, and this is what Jesus would ask me to do. He would ask me to lay my life down.
Yeah. What would Jesus do? It's interesting because Jesus hung around with, they called him a drunkard and what's that other word that starts with an S? Oh no, glutton. So a drunkard and a glutton, they called him. And he hung out, they said, with sinners and tax collectors. And
Sadducees. I'm like trying to think of S words.
no, glutton was the word.
Okay,
I thought
okay.
it was an S word, but it was actually a G word. But it was glutton and sinners, they said. And these were from not just as like we call it nowadays, or recent times or current times, would be the left or the right, right? It was both. Both did not like Jesus. Both pointed out that he's hanging out with these people, and and Jesus was not liked. That's why they wanted to crucify him, or they wanted him to die. They didn't, they had an agenda, and he was not fulfilling their agenda. And they were like, well, if he's not going to be on our side, if he's against us, then if he's not for us, then he's against us. And so let's get rid of him, because if we get rid of him, then, well, then we have one less person to worry about starting a revolution or etc. Well, they did try, they succeeded in the sense of, humanly speaking, they did crucify Jesus. But what happens when you try to silence people? They get louder. So the ones that follow Jesus were like, okay, well, Jesus was resurrected, praise the Lord. And because of that, we have eternal life. But then what happened? Like the church grew, right? Those that were trying to stunt it or stop it, they grew. And so, you know, if we do the right thing, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to like us. If we associate ourselves with another culture or another religion or another race or another political party, if we're seen with those people, then others may be like, did you see that Sonia was hanging out with so and so? What is she doing? Why is she talking like that? So like I mentioned this last week, like, all I know is that when I'm on my deathbed, the last thing I want, the last thing I want is the last thing I'll be thinking about is, how many times was I right? Opposed to how many people did I extend love to? Did I extend grace to? Did I extended mercy to? Did I extended compassion to? Like, at the end of the day, that's what we want for our lives, Christian or non-Christian. It doesn't matter. That's what we think about when we are dying. How has my life given meaning to someone else? In the moment, we get heated, we get angry about because someone doesn't agree with us or they can't see things our way, but at the end of the day, that's not going to matter, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whenever that time comes that we're on our deathbed. So, but you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, in those moments, that's what you want people, or actually, that's what you want Jesus to say, well done, good and faithful servant. Those are the words
Yes.
you want to hear. And I realize that those are words of service and action. And we can be lazy on social media, and we can poke at people, and we can troll and wait for the opportunity to say something nasty. But to me, that's lazy. To me,
Mhm.
that's not real action. You telling me that you're upset about something and posting something, to me, that is lazy. Show me that you're doing service for others. Show me that you're doing service for the people who need it most. Don't just make posts and think that that is going to get you saved or going to do something for others, because our posting and our pretending that we know when we don't know
Oh,
is not much of anything.
okay. Well, we're going to leave it on that note for now. There's our music. Join us on the second half. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Welcome back. NTX Radio proudly serves all of North Texas. It can be heard all over the world on TuneIn Radio Network and on the NTX Radio app, available on Android and Apple CarPlay, or just ask Alexa to play NTX Radio. Check out our lineup and more, ntxradio.com. We thank our valued sponsors in helping us amplify the voices of North Texas communities and businesses. So protect your family with a will or trust. Connect with Todd Hurd and Associates, attorney at law for all your civil law needs at texasattorneylaw.com. Processing credit cards? Join the Swipe Nation today and save on processing fees at swipenationusa.com. Locally owned and operated, and will beat any rates. Got sleeves? Dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com for women's accessories and more, made in the USA. And it's time to take your business to the next level. Hosting a radio show and podcast is a powerful way to connect with a wider audience, build brand awareness, and drive sales. Let's discuss your business goals and how a custom show can help you achieve them. Email Tiffany at t.hurd@ntxradio.com to get amplified.
Okay. All right. Well, we were talking about kind of overview of last week as far as the Good Samaritan, but we did want to share some stories about real stories of Good Samaritans. I know Eva said she had one, so I'll let Eva go first.
So I'm not quite sure that this, if you would call this a Good Samaritan, just because, well, you'll hear the story, but it's the first story that came to my mind. It's kind of a rescue story. It happened June 2022 in the U.S. There was a U.S. Olympian named Andrea Fuentes. She actually was a coach and a former Olympian, but she saved a swimmer, Anita Alvarez, from drowning at the World Aquatic Championship in Budapest. So she was fully clothed and she jumped in. She noticed that Anita was drowning. I guess she wasn't doing her usual routine and she noticed something was wrong. She could have waited for the lifeguards to jump in, but she decided to jump in anyway. Anita had fainted due to physical exertion. And seeing that the lifeguards were not reacting, that's when the coach, Andrea, decided that she was just going to jump in. And then they helped her get her out of the pool and treated her on site. But to me, that I don't know if you can call that a true Samaritan, but it came to my mind because I was just thinking about the action part. She wasn't thinking about because she jumped in with all her clothes, her shoes. Like she wasn't thinking about herself. She wasn't thinking about anything other than that moment and saving a life. And that's to me pretty huge because she could have chalked it off. She could have like waited around. She could have said, "Oh, the lifeguard, of course, will get her. We'll just wait and see what happens." But she reacted and she reacted on time. And I think that's what matters in the story of the Good Samaritan. He could have said, like the others, like, "We'll just wait for the others. Somebody will come. Somebody will come and help this man. It doesn't have to be me." And that's the part I think of the story that made me think that it was a Good Samaritan story because you can always just sit back and say, "It's not gonna be me today, like, I'm not gonna help." I see it, I see somebody drowning, or I see somebody hurt on the side of the road, but surely somebody else will come along, and, someone else will see that this person is hurting, and they'll get help eventually, right? But that's the part where it's all about timing and doing the right thing at the right moment because somebody's life is at stake, and in this incident, I just feel like if the coach would have waited for the lifeguard, who knows? Drownings take seconds. So if you're not in it right then and there. So that's a story that I thought of instantly when I was trying to think of some modern day Good Samaritan stories.
Mm. No, that's a good one. Um, like, because in those moments, it's like you can't really. I mean, we want everybody to be safe, obviously, right? Like, we want you to be safe. But it really is like second. You have seconds to react in that situation like that. Because if you don't, the person will die. And so, jumped in to save. And I'm sure the family was very grateful for that. And, we have this must have been about 20 years ago, I guess. Maybe a little bit more because it was before the kids were born. So maybe it was like 2004, maybe. It was myself, my husband, a friend, and her husband. And it was like a Saturday night. We just went out to eat and we were just walking, to our cars afterwards. And we saw this man on the ground, like drunk, drunk, drunk. Like, I'm sure he fell because he was drunk. And it could have been also, the pavement sometimes is uneven, so a combination of both. Regardless, he was on the ground. And, we could have avoided him. But my husband and her husband decided to help him. And so they got him off the floor. They sat him down like on like a little stoop kind of stair thing. And then we called the police to make sure that he would be okay. And he was. They made sure that he was safe because we couldn't stay there with him all night, but we did wait for him, for the police to come and make sure that he was taken care of, that he didn't have anything broken because he fell. So I think they ended up taking him to like the ER or whatever. Now, at that time, cell phones weren't really a thing, although they were, but they weren't like not everybody had. Most people didn't have them, and so I'm sure I don't know if he had one. I don't think so, but it was just like when I think of the Good Samaritan, I think of that moment because I'm like he was just like it's New York City, it's a Saturday night, it's probably 10 o'clock at night, maybe 11. I don't know what time it was, but it was relatively late. And if we didn't stop, I don't know who would have stopped. People probably would have walked around him. I mean, maybe eventually somebody would have, but it was I was, happy that we did stop to help him. Now, if I was by myself, I probably would have just called the police. But I mean, there were moments like that, opportunities like that. On another time, we were like in the car and there was a family stranded on the road. And so we stopped and got help. Um, so, there was just moments like that when we were living in New York. There's a lot of like foot traffic, so you get to see a lot more and things like that. So you get a chance to kind of witness those things more than here because we don't walk a whole lot in the sense of like walking to the store or things like that. But that's my Samaritan story. And it wasn't, I, never knew what happened to the man after that. But, we could have made excuses that, oh, he's drunk, he deserves it. I just hate when I hear people say that. It makes me crazy. Like nobody deserves to be hurt. Nobody deserves pain. Like just because somebody made a bad decision doesn't mean that they just they that now there's consequences for our choices. So yeah, the result of like being drunk is that you're not going to have as far as your like thinking and being able to process things and your what's the word I'm looking for? Help me, Eva.
It's not coming.
It's not coming. I can't think of it. But like you're not
Reactivity.
your reactivity level and all that, making decisions, right? You're making decisions. Part of your brain is not going to work sharp, right? That's all knowledge and facts. Those are consequences of being drunk or being a drug addict or whatever. We're not saying that those things are not facts and they could happen or they will happen or they did happen. But the point is that even if the person in your eyes deserved it, can't we just stop to help them? My man was drunk. It's like somebody like was on like maybe a sheet, maybe they were on a pond and they were like ice skating and this ice was thin. Well, they shouldn't have been doing that. They deserve it. What? What are we talking about here? What do you mean they deserve it? Yeah, should they have done it? No. We're not going to let them die, are we? Anyway, I just can't understand that kind of thought process. If just we call ourselves human, then we'll help another human being. And yeah. So um I thought about like throughout history, not just because 9/11 is a good example of lots of stories of people helping each other out, but there's been a lot of, other things in history that um people stood with other people or helped other people. I think last year we did do a for those that didn't listen to it, it was in July, I believe. July of last year, we did a podcast on the tragedy that happened with the river overflowing. Where was that again?
That was
It was a couple of hours from here. Was it like near Austin, San Antonio area?
yeah.
Somewhere around that area. And there was this like rainfall that was like crazy that came down, and then there were kids camping and a lot of them died, but there were a lot that were saved. And so, and why and how were they saved? People just went and saved them. Um, no questions asked. You were gonna say something.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, and somehow that got twisted and became very political, where people were trying to like take sides and stuff. And it's just like, okay, this was a tragedy. It wa- you know, it happened so quickly. We're not going to sit around and wonder if it was brought on. There's all kinds of speculation. There's all kinds of theories, right? But in the end of the day, there were young people who lost their life and families completely broken. Like, I can't imagine waking up to the news that my daughter was swept away
Mm.
and that I need to go out and with, the rest of the team to look for her and, just praying for days that at least, maybe she's hanging on for life in a tree or something. So when that incident also became political, I was just like, wait a second. Wait a second. Like, yes, we can jump on either side and speculate and theories, but where's the action? Where's the money to go help the families, or where is the action to go over there instead of just throwing up some random post to let everybody know that you're a smart cookie? I'm like, "Are you really that smart? Do you really know what's going on? You have to be Jesus to know what's going on in a lot of these scenarios." Right?
Right.
Like, I can speculate, I can read all the different theories on how it happened, why it happened, who made it happen, what agenda, who, how, when, just take your truck and go over there.
Yeah. We always feel like we need to make everything political, and I just don't understand why we do that.
I think on, last week's show, you mentioned the Holocaust, right? I think you
Yes.
brought up the Holocaust, and that was from the years 1933 to 1945, and, it's approximated that 6 million Jews, lost their life. Um, that's a lot of people, and I could be getting that wrong. I'm just reading something right here in front of me, so anybody can fact check and correct me, but it was a big number, and I remember I've gone to one of the museums in Dallas, like several of them, and just being mortified, like, "This is crazy. I don't even know that I need to even see this." My brain has a hard time processing and knowing what to do with that. But the action, the hero stories are the people who stood up. Oh, there was one country that stood up to Hitler, and I'm trying to remember what country because I just heard about it last night. There was one country that said somebody will know, and I'll have to look it up later, but there was one country that said no, and I wanna say it was Bulgaria.
Okay.
I wanna say it was Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria, the people of Bulgaria. I'm gonna look it up when I leave here, but they were like, "No, like, that's not gonna happen." And I'm like, "What if the rest of the countries would have been like, no, this is not gonna happen." Like, basically, they were like, not today. You're not coming over here. That's not we're not signing up for that. We're not signing up for that belief, um, for that thought process that you want us to adopt. We're not gonna do it." But the people who showed love and action, like, we're gonna risk our family. That's to me, when I think about that, that's a huge decision. I don't even know if I would be like, "Sure, you're knocking on my door. I'm gonna open up my door, and I'm gonna risk my husband's life, my children's life to save your family." I feel like I would be quite tempted to say, "Go see the neighbor down the street. Maybe they'll help you out."
Mm.
Like, I don't wanna get involved. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So many families, though, have a beautiful story of where they rescued and I'm sure there was stories where they did get caught and there were consequences. But those stories of the people that took a chance and showed action, to me, that is selfless love that you would lay down your own life, your own family's life
Mhm.
for that of another family.
Right.
That's huge. That speaks volumes.
Mhm. Well, I mean, we don't even have to go. That's the Holocaust was one example. What about the civil rights movement here in the US back in the 60s when when white people, Caucasian people were walking hand in hand with African Americans. That was a risk. And it really I mean, it happened everywhere. It was pretty much all over the country, but it happened more in the South, but it happened pretty much everywhere. And they took risks, standing up for what they believe, for what they thought was wrong, to walk hand in hand with someone from a different race because they felt they wanted to their conscience couldn't like tell them otherwise, and yeah, do we get afraid of maybe standing up for what is right because we feel like maybe something bad will happen to us? Or man, if I worried about that every single day, I wouldn't do half the things that I do. If I thought like, oh, something bad's gonna happen to me if I stand up for this person, or if I walk into this place, or whatever it may be, or what are people gonna think, or what people gonna say, or you know, um, I wouldn't do half the things that I do because fear would paralyze me, and I think that that's what happens a lot of the time. Fear paralyzes us to do the right thing because the Bible says, if you know, I got to look this verse up because I don't want to like misquote it. Basically, the gist of it is, if you know to do what is right and you don't do it, it is sin. But I'm gonna look it up. Let me see.
Well, also, fear doesn't come from God,
No, it doesn't.
and fear can be crippling. But if we abide in Christ, we can have strength to conquer. Perfect love casts out all fear.
Okay, it's in James 4:17. It says, "So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Or therefore to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin." So if we know that something is right, but then we go against what we believe is right, then the Bible says it, not me. The Bible says it's sin. So we'll have to answer to God for that.
Mhm.
And so I'd rather be known for someone who has integrity and does the right thing. Do I do it perfectly? No. I'm sure there were times that I could have stood up for something and I didn't, you know. Um I think when you get older, how we talk about it, we joke around with that when you get older you care less about what people think. I think that's what happens too, but that's not always the case. At least for me it is. I don't worry as much about what people think. Um as I used to. So I kind of
I'm definitely growing out of the people pleaser syndrome.
yeah, me too. I think I'm kind of like already like towards the end of that.
I'm I'm pretty much like, I don't care.
I
Uh,
think it's the menopause or the perimenopause. They said the hormone that actually cares about that thing kind of starts to diminish, and we don't care. We care less about what people think because we're like, well, we've already reached our age, like at this point, like, I'm not worried about what y'all think because y'all have opinions about me anyway. If I make this decision, then you're gonna think this anyway, and if I make this other decision, you're gonna think this anyway.
who do you wanna disappoint? Jesus Christ or your fellow man? At this point, it's time to start caring less about what people think and what Jesus thinks. What does Jesus think? What do I need to do? Where do I need to be? How do I need to act? And after all, it's time to be an adult. We have to do what's hard sometimes as an adult,
Hmm.
but definitely choose what is right. And hurting people is always gonna be right. Helping hurting people is always gonna be the right thing to do. Showing love will always conquer.
Yes, showing love, being a conduit of love, being a conduit of peace, being a conduit of joy, of hope. Like, I don't know, sometimes in in recent days or, last few months or whatever it is, last few years, just feel like a lot of people just have lost hope in a lot of things. And, how can we regain that? How can we help people regain hope again?
You know what? I will say just on those lines about hope, and this could be a little bit of a modern day Samaritan type story, but today in the grocery store, I ran into a friend from nursing school. She literally we both had our groceries in the cart. We hadn't seen each other probably in years, and she stopped me to ask how I was doing, and we chatted for probably an hour.
Oh, wow.
It may have been longer. It was a while, but she left me with so much hope, and she
Hmm.
told me some stories about even herself that I had never heard,
Wow.
and things that she was going through in nursing school that I had no clue of
Hmm.
how much suffering she had and things that she had gone through, and how alone and how hopeless. And she just gave me so much encouragement, and I to me, that's kind of a modern day
Mhm.
Samaritan story where she took the time. She could have been like, "I don't have time for this today. I'm grocery shopping." Like, clearly, we all have our agendas, and we have our places we need to be. But God, like, set a time apart for me to hear her and her to hear me, and she really blessed me. She even texted me after when I got in the car, and she was just like, "Just I prayed for you all the way home."
Aw.
And I was like, "That is incredible." She lives all the way in Whitney. That's a long drive.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a long drive.
So, anyway, it to me, that's kind of like a modern day story when you stop to take time to notice that somebody's human and that um, we have needs, even though it might not be a need where we're on the side of the road bleeding. But maybe our hearts are bruised and we need somebody to give us hope, and to deny that another human and to feel like I don't have time because I've got to get to the bank. I've got to get to the post office. I've got to do this.
Oh, I gotta get to church.
I got to get to church. Ooh, that's big, Sonia. I got to get to church and I don't have time.
We are the church. We are the church. So if you see somebody stranded, even if you have to go to church,
That's a good one, Sonia.
stop for them.
Mhm. So yeah, we're like too in a hurry to get to church and you pass by the person and think you can't help them or you can't yeah,
Yeah.
that's so huge because it might be that you might not need to go to church on that day. You might need to go to the hospital to visit somebody
Yep.
or just stop by their home because maybe they don't feel like going to church, so they need church to come to them, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so
Well,
yeah, you mentioned hope, and that's just what I thought.
there's our music. Oh, it goes so fast. Well, like we always end our podcast. So I said, don't give up. Hold on to Jesus.
Keep looking up.
We'll see you next time.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godly, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.